Frank Watson here with John Lowe, and maybe Tom Probasco will show up. We're off to a little later start than usual on KaPOOF. And John, how are you doing?
Well, I'm pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain. I had a good Zoom meeting yesterday with my other group, and pretty good shape otherwise. Health-wise, pretty even, and nothing too much to complain with. I have a lot of things I have to, what is bear with. That comes with life and habit. Other than that, but things are pretty even and healthy and going well. And you?
I'm doing okay, John. It's just a happier Frank that you're looking at, and
Well, that's
more
great.
rested. And
Uh,
I don't have the lighting set up just right yet, but I've got Barbara's daughter is living with us.
how old is she?
She's in her 60s, I believe.
Okay.
Hmm. And the right now, three of the great grandkids, our great grandkids are here, visiting a little bit while their mom has to go take another one to someplace, and I love it. I
Mhm.
just love it. Uh, Family means so much to Barbara and me,
I'm
and
sure.
so having Carrie here and Pat Baker just drove up from Sycamore, and we did a Zoom meeting from there.
Oh,
I was absolutely surprised and delighted uh, that that happened, and that's one of the reasons I'm running a little bit late. Is he just left? And
hmm.
look,
You
here's Tom Probasco. So
is your house, is it in downtown, close to Muncie, or out on the outskirts, or
that's on the outskirts,
uh
and I'm going to welcome Tom Probasco, and then I got to post the video I just did with Pat. Well, we'll
oh,
get
go ahead.
Tom.
Go ahead.
We'll wait till Tom gets on here and make sure all that goes smooth. So, fine. Trying to get. I got a window on one side of
Voice
me.
came
There's
up.
Tom.
Okay. Yeah, I had a little technical issue there.
Hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
How you doing?
good. I love your new house. So I love your stories about it. Good
Oh,
luck.
thank you.
Yeah, good luck. It sounds like a great move for you.
It is, and Pat Baker just drove all the way up from Sycamore to do our morning video.
Oh,
I was so touched.
that is so
Yeah,
sweet. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you
and
guys have a good visit.
thank you, Julia.
Good to see
Julie,
you.
is it?
Yeah,
Julia?
This is John.
Oh, hi, John.
This is John. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. I hear a lot about you guys.
Well, it's really good to meet you, though, and we'll probably see much more of you, and I hope you see much of us.
Yeah. Thank you.
We think a lot of him.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
good. So do I.
Yeah.
Visit.
will you guys chat for a minute and get caught up? I got to post the video I just made with Pat Baker. Just drove up
Oh.
all the way from
Oh
Sycamore,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I got to get
Yeah.
this posted.
Yeah. I thought I was. I think John, we're doing this at 9:30 mostly because I was sitting here at 9:30, and when I didn't see the link, I thought, well, something's come up. So I'm going to have to check with him. He's either changed the time, or I think he just probably got caught up in the other thing he does. And uh, time gets away, as we all know.
Well, I was here at 9:32, and so yeah,
I think we probably need to. My schedule up here is going to run later, and I think we need to probably go for like 10:30 or 11, probably 10:30.
Yeah, whenever you decide, let us know for sure because that's going to impact, how it does. You get appointments and different things like that.
yeah.
So let me know.
Well, let's go for 10 o'clock on Monday. And if there's a
Now,
change, if
well, that's fine normally. Now I've got dealing with some eye things, and I got an appointment that I have to be at 9:30, so I can't make it as it happens this Monday.
what time could you make it?
Uh, I don't know because I don't know how the eye appointment's going to go yet. So I'll have to just see.
Well,
Now,
John,
normally,
could you be available at about 11?
I think so. Yeah.
Let's go for 11, and then if you can make it,
yeah,
even
if I can, I can. If I can't, yeah.
right.
Yeah, it really just depends on what how these I've got some various eye things going on, so it just kind of depends on how it goes at that point. But I'm going to put down here 11. Jot this down. Uh, do you have any idea if that's what it'll be? Well, I don't know if I don't know if you know what typical will be just yet.
I'm not even close to knowing that.
Yeah, so we'll just take it. We're just going to say I think Monday and Wednesday, and the time to be determined type of thing.
Yes,
That makes okay. All right.
yes.
So
Okay.
John, John, life at the Sycamore without Frank. There, are you able to do any of the centering prayer?
Well, yeah, we're doing it, continuing that, yes, with Darlene, and as Frank has said, he would be coming back sometimes. And I also have experience with meditation, civil mind development. I had a lot of training in that, and something I
Oh,
might just throw in with her, and she will be leading it, typically quite a bit like Frank. And
oh,
so we'll be working that.
okay. And so there's, I didn't know how many of you were involved. I knew you and Frank, but I didn't know there were others. Do you do that in that meditation room that had gotten established? Uh,
No, uh, that meditation room uh, is just uh, too far off um, for some people, for people to get to. It's at the far
oh,
end of
okay.
the building.
So
So
that's not worth.
I think they're gonna return that to the general inventory.
Oh, I see.
Now that,
Yeah, I wondered about that.
yeah, now that I'm gone.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm hoping Darlene is going to try getting her laptop out, and I'm hoping to attend on with by Zoom with the group.
I see.
So
Okay.
we'll see how that works.
Sure.
And occasionally I hope to get back to Sycamore for some things. It's it's you meet Pat Baker, Darlene Park, John Lowe, uh,
Mhm.
people that you don't want to lose touch with, and
Right.
sometimes it's good to be in person, and
Right.
and if I I'm looking forward at some point, Tom. We need to get you up here, and
Yeah, well, that's David Slates has said expressed interest in heading up. I still work with him on the Indiana Music History Project, so I meet him and I see him in person
Yeah.
generally every Tuesday we do a couple hours volunteer work and we talk about things. And he talked about doing that, and he's been real busy with the performing with the at the state fair. He got that they did that. They did several shows there, and then he plays with this group now called the Embers. Uh, so he's been busy, but he did say, "Hey, we're going to have to go up and see Frank." So that's certainly in the
Well, I
coming
will
as
look forward to
so,
that. We have a garage.
yeah, you
So,
mentioned that.
given that we've got a garage, we can have a garage band.
Oh, there. Well, there you go.
We also have a back porch that is just made for music. Uh, so we've got a couple of options there for warmer, when it's not too hot or too cold.
Yeah.
And then we've got a living room that's quite suitable for that sort of thing as well.
Well, it makes me think of the Steel Street house. We'd sometimes we'd be on the front porch, sometimes we'd
Yeah,
be in the, in the living room. Sometimes we'd be on the back. Over
yeah.
the many years, have been different, and depending on the group size and all that.
Well, Tom, what do you play? The harmonica?
Uh, I was told one time by Frank will appreciate this. Remember Mike Power? He said he instructed me. Well, the short answer is yes, John. But Mike Power instructed me at one point when we were doing the family sing along, Frank, there at the Irvington Library. He instructed me. He said, "Now, what you should say when Mike Hilton, tells you to introduce your instrument, it says, don't say I play the harmonica. Simply say I have a harmonica." Now, does that remind you of Mike Power or not? Don't tell him you play the harmonica. Tell him you have a harmonica. He did that with himself, and he said, "I have a banjo." So,
That's safe.
yeah, yeah, that lowers the expectations down where they should be.
Yep, yep, yep.
I like to live with uh, few expectations. I like to let things develop and enjoy whatever is there for enjoyment.
Well, that's it. That is, as you've said, you said long ago, success really amounts to showing up. Um, and yeah, you can get yourself in trouble if you know, enter into a situation where quote unquote professional performance is expected,
Right.
but that's not too hard to avoid for the most part.
Yeah, if you're really trying to make money, that's one thing. But if you're doing it
For the
as
fun of it.
a
Yeah.
hobby or
Yeah.
you
Right.
love it, uh, I just quit. Pretty much quit even bothering playing out because I didn't want interruptions from people that didn't care.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember uh, he didn't quit playing out, but Caleb Hawkins at some point, um, he always was one to want to interact with the audience.
yeah,
And he wound up in places, where they just were treating him like, and we know this happens, uh, treating him just like background music. And he just said, "That's enough of that." Uh, I've
yeah,
seen that happen other places.
yeah. He's out after more than the money. He wants the audiences. He needs the money, but he needs more than money from the audience to make it worth his time.
Yeah, paying attention
Yeah,
to the music, the song, and that happened. I first observed that situation 20 some years ago. I went down. I finally, the first time I met Pat Webb, and we was playing in this little pizza joint in Nashville, Indiana, and he was over in the corner playing, you know. And Julia and I were sitting there. That's what we went to hear him. Well, the people were just chatting away. And so he plays a few songs, he takes a break, and he came over and he said, I can tell you're here to pay attention to this. I said, yeah, that's why I came down here. I said, it's kind of annoying that, it's you're being treated like, that's one thing. You got a piano player just over there tinkling the ivory, but
Yeah.
that's not what, you know, but that was and he said, yeah, he said that happens. And, it is annoying, but I got to talk to him.
Yeah. 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 He was quite an interesting fella. I like Pat. I like the fact that he recorded a couple of my songs. That was nice.
Well, yeah, at least, yeah. Well, several of your songs have been covered by, gosh, I can't even think. Well, Pat for sure. Then it was on another disc, um, just different ones over the years that have been, covered by others as well, but certainly Pat, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pat had the quickest wit uh, of anybody. There are just a few people that I know of that really could catch a situation with the kind of wit that he had, and um, and get away with it.
Was he a musician?
Yes, he was a guitar player, folk singer.
Okay.
Uh,
Folk singer. And did he promote? It sounded like he was a promoter as well, or producer, or
he was what?
a promoter or producer as well with it.
Well, he produced his own music. You
Oh,
know,
I see.
yeah,
But you joined with him at times.
yeah.
Or he joined with you or whatever. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, here's a thing, John, about Pat Webb. He he said one time, he said he went, well, as Frank did, he went to Nashville, Tennessee, and talked to some people about his music, and there was a contract drawn up, and he looked at it, and he said no, but he did say, if I had signed that contract, you would know who I am at this
Huh.
point. Now, he did have a following. Uh, at one point, there was his son, Chris Webb, and I meet whenever Chris is up to it. Chris is another very interesting story, but Chris said, there was a time somewhere in one of the well-known venues up northeast. It won't come to me right now, but he said, uh, Bob, Bob Zimmerman, uh, Bob Dylan, before before the whole world was listening to Bob Dylan, he would go up there and at certain venues to hear Pat Webb play. And he's on a couple. He cut a record with his wife at the time, Charlotte Daniels. It was what was a Smithsonian or Folkways
Just
record album.
Folkways. Folkways.
Yeah.
They were bought by Smithsonian.
Okay. So they put out an LP. Um, he also was connected with another remarkable fellow. Who's passed away in 2020 or 2021, Al Stone. Al Stone recorded most of Pat's probably 5 CDs that he produced that got made. And people, I remember when I worked at the library, if I mentioned Pat Webb to certain people, they'd go, "Oh yeah, we know who that is," and they had would go to listen to Pat, well, and his son Chris, because sometimes they would play together. So he had a certain, again, not he didn't sign the big contract, I'll call it, but he was known. Um, as was Chris for a time, and then you know, for other reasons that Frank knows, that's kind of faded at this point.
Were they brothers?
Pat and Chris, Pat, I'm sorry, Chris is Pat's son,
Oh, okay.
and he's a remarkable singer songwriter as well.
Very talented.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was Frank. It was your son, CJ, that said Chris's writing talent is at the Bob Dylan level.
Yeah.
And if you listen to his, he's got 2 CDs out. If you listen to that, it's clear. His lyrics are really standalone poems.
Yeah.
The music, of course, adds something, but they really are. And there's a third one that, if certain things can be accomplished, uh, there's another album of songs that are just truly remarkable. But that's another story. But John, we were talking last time. It's interesting. You've got, you've had the theological, teaching, professional teaching.
Yeah.
Then you also were a jazz musician.
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be a musician, and let's see, I studied the clarinet in high school, and then went to saxophone and played in bands in Northern Indiana. I went over that before. I don't want to, repeat all that. Get kind of detailed last time. And I got married. Then I was called to the ministry and so forth, and ended up at Marian College teaching.
Yeah.
In religion, and it was almost accidentally that I picked up the saxophone again.
Oh.
One of my students was an excellent flautist and a major in music at Marian, and wanted to pick up the saxophone. And I don't know if you ever heard of Les and Larry Elgart, big bands, a very prominent big band, in the 40s. And if you listen much let's see, on YouTube or the computer, the swing or big bands, why once in a while you'll hear Les or Larry Elgart. They were brothers. And anyway, there was a man who was an alcoholic, and he had played with Elgart. And one of the therapies for him was to organize a band and get involved in that sort of thing, and then see if that didn't help him conquer this alcoholism. Well, anyway, this student of mine knew this guy's name was Jim Richardson. He knew Jim, and Jim had talked with him a little bit, and Jim had picked up the saxophone some, and he wanted to see if he could join the new band that Jim Richardson was organizing. And now the student's name was Jim, and the other guy's name was Jim too, so you had two Jims going. And I volunteered. I said, well, Jim, the flautist, I said, well, I can maybe help you because I played a lot in the sax. And so he took some lessons from me, and then he went off and took more time to lessons and so forth. And he'd be very good with the sax. And he asked me if I would join with the group. And we practiced in the basement of Jim Richardson. That's the other guy. And we had the full five sax section. And so I was going to play second, which usually plays the jazz part. And then we had a fourth tenor, and then a baritone, and of course, two altos. And so full five. And And so then Jim Richards brought in various brass and other instruments. So we organized a full band, and then he started jobbing us, and we played in like in a convention, or it could be in a hotel or labor union or various places, and we got pretty good. And so we played out. Well, anyway, Jim Richardson asked me to be his assistant, and so I was happy to do that. And I was a little older than a lot of the other guys. I was more his age. But anyway, he set up a dance at the Officers Club at Fort Harrison,
Oh,
and the band, of course, arrived, and Jim didn't show up.
oh,
He fell off the wagon,
yeah.
and who inherited the band? I did. I had to pick it up that night, for that matter.
Oh
Of
man.
course, the whole band, they were very good in setting up all the stands and the music and all that. And each section had a sort of a leader, and they pulled in together. They were excellent musicians. And so we played the big band. And eventually we added a singer. So we had 17 pieces, including, I think it was including the singer. And we played various places. And I didn't try all that hard, but I made some connections with the downtown, the Monument Circle. And we had the summer festivals and all the concession stands. There was really thousands of people packed all around the circle, up the streets.
Yeah.
And we played one side of the four sides of the monument. They had rock bands, and we had the big band. And 2 summers we were able to do that, and it was a great experience and went well. And they also had a celebration for the city market called Market Day, and we had a band. We played for that too, for a couple sessions. A fun deal. So
Yeah.
we continued playing one place or another. Then they had what they called tea dances. That became a new thing in Indianapolis. Well, not only in Indianapolis, but throughout the country. And on Friday nights, when people got off work, big bands. Now, this is hopefully to bring back the big bands, you see. And I forget the hotel downtown, the one that has the rotating restaurant on top that,
Oh yeah. Eagle's Nest or
well, the hotel, I forget what it was.
yeah.
You know, they had a band in there before we did, and they played every Friday night, Friday afternoon, well, evening, about 5 o'clock. I think it was after work, and then people would dance in and of course that hotel is like a huge. It's all open, but it's all within.
Yeah. I think it was called the Eagle's Nest at one time.
So
Maybe
that was
it's
the restaurant. That was the restaurant on top. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
not the Radisson. It's some
yeah,
similar hotel.
yeah.
But then we got in at the Marriott on the east side, and we were playing once a week there, and we were well received, well received. Then one thing happened in Kansas City. They had a band Friday night tea dances on a mezzanine level, and the rhythm boom up and down, and people dancing up and down, and that caused a collapse
Huh.
of the mezzanine.
Oh my
Many
God.
people were injured terribly. Well, that was such a bad example of what happened. The tea dances fell apart after that.
Oh my gosh. So what time frame are we talking about roughly? What years,
Well, this was in the good question.
I mean, just roughly.
It had to be in the 60s and 70s.
Okay,
That was later.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. 60s and 70s and that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And we had a lot of fun and so forth. Then I also organized a little group outside of it. I called it the John Lowe combo, and I had a beautiful blonde singer who was an accomplished singer, and I had about three or four, 4 or 5 pieces usually of rhythm and tenor sax, and then she would sing, and we were at the Iron Horse there, Riley Towers, and we played around at the athletic club, many dances there, weddings, and all kinds of activities. And one time I was at the, this is kind of a joke, I was at the Circle there, and there was a bar there, and somebody walked in and sat down there and had her dinner, and we were playing, you see. It happened to be Rita Moreno. You remember Rita Moreno from the West Side Story? She was one of the big stars.
Oh,
And
oh,
she reappeared again. She's been playing all this time at different times, places. So I always say, we performed for Rita Moreno.
I guess, yeah, that's a memorable element of that.
Anyway, and
Yeah,
then I retired then, and I went to Florida. Then that was the end of that. Although I
and
did play a little bit in Florida, I did play down there some,
okay.
but not nearly as much. But all this is on the side of my teaching. You see,
Yeah, but that's quite a side thing. And
we had
I
a lot
think
of fun.
about,
A lot of fun. It was creative, and
yeah,
I was into jazz music quite a bit,
yeah.
and
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 I, yeah,
not in rock and roll hardly at all. We try to stay away from that.
yeah. Well, I think about, uh, thinking about what I know about Frank's musical history. So, it kind of ranged from down. I think you started, Frank, on the harmonica before you were in
Yes,
Indianapolis.
yes,
Uh, and, and the type of music, um, very different from what John's describing.
yes.
Oh
But
yeah, quite
you
different. Yeah.
also, but you began writing songs, not immediately, but you at some point then you put the harmonica down, at least to some degree,
Yeah, I got a
play
guitar.
stringed instruments.
I got a free guitar. Someone gave me a flute because they thought because I played harmonica, I might want to try the flute. But my mind didn't work that way, nor my fingers.
Yeah.
And someone offered me a guitar in exchange for the flute.
Aha.
So I said, sure. And I I was frustrated at the time because nobody really wanted a harmonica player that was, uh, I loved it, but I was not proficient at the variety of things. I was mostly playing blues on the harmonica,
Yeah.
and uh, so I was playing guitar. I was trying to learn guitar, and I only played a couple of chords, and I didn't have anybody to play harmonica with, so I got a harmonica rack, to put, and
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
I started playing harmonica to the few chords that I knew, and there were no songs with that few chords that I could sing, so I started writing my own songs, and
Okay, that's when that
yeah,
began. Yeah.
and there are R.L. Burnside is a blues musician, and he goes with one chord per song, maybe two.
Yeah.
And he is well respected in the blues community. And there's just so many various ways of playing music, and I like a lot of them.
Yeah.
Um, there
Yeah. Well, and you played picked up the guitar, but you've also played the banjo, different kinds of banjos and different kinds of guitars over the many years.
Yes, Yes, and it has been life sustaining. Music does so much for you, and I've tried to pay the music back. I've I've given away a lot of guitars and a lot of ukuleles
Oh yeah, the ukuleles, right? Yeah.
and harmonicas
Yeah.
to people that had some interest and they just needed a boost. And it's wonderful. One of the people that I wrote, was a stepson, and I got a guitar, and I thought, I bet I bet he would really like this guitar. And it wasn't a great guitar, but it was electrified and it was good enough. I gave it to him. He started playing. Next thing I know, he's got another guitar that's better than that, and he's just kept going. And this man, he's a school teacher, and he has played for a Christmas program, a song that he wrote himself, and just did a fine job of it. And to me, there's so many different levels that you can enjoy music at, like
Yeah.
painting or anything, but it
Right.
keeps you alive.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm thinking of kind of the comparison, contrasting John's music with yours, similarities, but quite different as well, because you would play places depending on who you were sort of connected with at the time. Trying to think of the fellow that played, he would do a lot of busking, and he
John
went around.
France.
Who again?
John France.
Yeah, John Frown. I remember that story. But there'd be other, there are other mixes in there of places you would wind up playing. But then, not that long ago, but a while back too, you began to kind of migrate toward uh, what I'll call the campfire arrangement.
Yeah.
You're less, I mean, you're almost down to just that now, but you begin to kind of drift into, let's just get together, uh, and success will just being showing up. You can come up with an instrument, you come with just your voice, you can come just to listen, and you began to, even after all this, you've written, a lot of people know many of your songs and will request them.
Yeah.
So there is that. And I see we're down to less than 1 minute, so we're on the verge of
We're going to we're
we're
going
going
to
to go
KaPOOF.
poof. Yeah, we're going to disappear.
Well, guys, it's been. Let me just say, it's great to be connected and back together. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you got up there. I mean, it was just like all of a sudden, you were at Sycamore and then poof.
Love
I